As Your Heart Betrays You, Part 6. A Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction written and narrated by Mira Rose. Artwork for the opening and thumbnail image by Even Art Adam on Instagram and Tumblr. You can check out their art in the description box below. Go give them all the like, love, hearts, comments, all the good things. Woo! If you haven't subscribed, you should do that, please. Leave a like and leave a comment to support the YouTube algorithm. If you don't know what to comment, put Ladrien. Now then, please enjoy As Your Heart Betrays You, and thank you so much for listening. Part 6. Marinette Dupang Chang, 20 years old, exhausted, and completely unaware of her roommate outside the door. Marinette slept soundly after exchanging a few worried words with Tiki the night prior. Whether it was from mental exhaustion or physical, she couldn't guess, but the uninterrupted 9 hours was bliss, even if it meant waking up to a workday. Marinette! She felt Tiki's weight on her cheek as the Kwame prodded her awake, most likely after silencing her alarm. Marinette, it's time to get up! She gave another protesting grunt, then sat up, Tiki flying off before she could tumble. Another day, another queen, she yawned, rubbing her eyes before yesterday's events hit her. He knows. Cat Noir? That happened? He knows I'm a ladybug? And that you're single? I'm sorry, what? Alya's voice rumbled, muffled through the door. Oops. Marinette and Tiki exchanged glances, and she nodded, a signal to the Kwame to undo the lock. Her roommate barged in, breakfast and orange juice in hand, and plopped on her bed so dramatically it was a near miracle she didn't dirty the bedsheets. Good morning, Alya. Marinette heard how dry her tone was, but it matched her expression, so why bother changing it? Girl! It's true. Alya stared at her, her jaw dropped with the corners of her mouth turned up. Forget breakfast! We should have popcorn and a bottle of champagne! It's 7 a.m., which makes it mimosa hour. So, he knows a ladybug equals Marinette Dupang Chang. Did you tell him? Did he figure it out? Was it because of the "you dated Adrien" hint? Girl, I am starving and not for food. Take a breath, Alya. Oh, where to begin? I went to see Adrien yesterday. Yeah, how did that end up with an identity reveal? Unless... Her grin split wide, as if she had something sinister up her sleeve. Unless he's Cat Noir, and that's how he figured it out. No, nothing like that. She waved a hand in the air. He figured it out because I told Cat as Marinette I was going to see Adrien, and then he found me as Ladybug after, and I told him I saw my ex. And he knows that Ladybug dated Adrien. Alya sighed, setting the food on the floor before crossing her arms and legs. That's less entertaining. Your Adrien conspiracy theory needs to stop. I'm just saying, date a lot of girls, slip in and out with different forms of attention, she continued. Both of them barely have enough time to date as many girls as they do on their own. There's no way they could double it. You're no fun. Alya reached down and plucked a grape to throw at her. I literally pretended I had a boyfriend for years. Fun isn't the Marinette experience. She narrowed her eyes. Past tense? Marinette bit her lip. She hadn't heard her declaration of singleness through the door. You're dating? Her eyebrows all but defied gravity as they lifted. No, but... She took a moment to breathe. I told Cat Noir I'm single. Kind of. What do you mean, kind of? The eyebrows were back over her eyes, knit together. Cat asked me why I wasn't with my boyfriend, and I told him I didn't have one. Was this before or after he knew you were Marinette? She rubbed her forehead. I don't remember? Ugh, boo. So what, did he ask you out on the spot? He asked me if we'd broken up, and I said, something like that. Marinette, do pang chang, Alya yelled, leaning back as she drew a hand to her chest. You sly woman. Nothing's gonna happen, Alya. Nothing's gonna happen, my Kwame. Come on, Marinette. You've been making eyes at each other for years. Have not. Have too. His are all googly and melty for you, and when he leaves, you always look like you've lost him forever when you watch him go. No, that's just me checking out the goods. Oh, please, he's got great curvature. There's no way you'd look that forlorn if it was the treasure you're after. They chuckled, knowing Cat would approve of the conversation. He made butt jokes all the time. Okay, fine. Yeah, I like him, and... Oh, honey. Alya pulled out her phone. We been new. You're requesting money from Nino through Venmo, aren't you? Thanks for helping me win a bet. You're buying lunch today. What? No, I earned this money. Earned. That's the word we're going with. As if you and Adrien don't have a long-standing bet of when Nino and I are getting married. A grin spread onto her face, thinking of her time with him yesterday. Yeah, we do. Alya dropped her phone with a thunk, letting it bounce off her thigh into the bed covers. What's that smile? Huh? You just admitted liking Cat aloud to me, of all people. What's that smile? What? Marinette pushed back hair and looked away, feeling guilty at the mention of Cat. Nothing. I wasn't smiling. I mean, I was, but like at the joke. The marriage. The bet. Not the marriage. Marriage isn't a joke. What happened? Alya bumped her shoulder into hers, her grin as wide as ever. So, remember how Adrien wouldn't talk to anyone, even Nino, about breaking up with me? Yeah, dude, it was cold. He didn't talk to any of us for a hot minute. Turns out that around the time he and I started dating, the girl he liked started dating someone. The creases around Alya's eyes softened as her smile fell. Oh. Yeah. Kind of like Cat Noir. Marinette looked at her. What do you mean? When he found out you had a boyfriend, remember? That's when he started basically dating anyone who wanted superhero clout. Well, he's a bit more choosy than that, Marinette corrected. He might be a floozy, but Cat made sure to be a date for, cancer patients and the like when the opportunity presented itself. Like he was crafting a fantasy for them. I'm just saying, Adrien broke up with you because he didn't want to date you while feeling for another girl, right? I suppose. And Cat started dating to distract himself from the girl he likes being held by someone else. I'm not property, Marinette pointed out. And no, I wouldn't call it a distraction. Sometimes you need a new crush to get over an old one. Right. Because that's what you are to him. A crush. Marinette flopped onto her back, groaning as her legs dangled over the bed. Doesn't explain Adrien's exploration. Sure it does. Alya looked down at her, and she stared in response. What? As opposed to just dating me? not breaking my heart as a young, impressionable teen? It means he wasn't comfortable using you as a coping mechanism. When Marinette opened her mouth to respond, she cut her off. Don't say you wanted to be that for him. Value yourself like he values you, babe. She closed her mouth and sighed through her nose. She was right. There was something intimate about Adrien not wanting to chain date her. But mulling it over now wouldn't do any good. She'd already gotten a late start and had work to do, including deliveries. She knew she shouldn't, but it looked like she'd have to use her mask to get everything done in time. Ugh, whatever. Anything to pay rent, right? Thanks for breakfast, Marinette said, curling herself upright and helping herself to a glass of juice. Gotta run. Girl! Alya protested. She threw on a different blouse and some jeans, then went to her desk where her still full tote of orders were. If she missed the post again, it'd be another day before these went out. Gotta bounce! Spot's on! Marinette transformed and slipped out of their living room window, zipping from rooftop to the post office, where she climbed down and detransformed behind. It's a good thing she invested in zippable totes, else her packages may have gotten lost in a tight spot. Welcome back, miss, the clerk greeted, already moving items aside to start scanning and packages. Thank you, and I'm sorry, Marinette said, setting the tote on the counter. Another 4 minutes and you would have missed today's cutoff. I guess I'd better lay these out for you then. She pulled packages out with the barcode up for the clerk to scan. She liked this one. Always friendly despite how often Marinette pushed the limits for service. But, dear? Yes? Marinette looked up as she set out the last package. You may want to find some shoes. She looked down, realizing her toes and soles were exposed to the world. Oops. She hadn't noticed even coming into the building. Looks like she'd ladybug herself back home, too. Yeah. Marinette tightened a smile. I, left them in the car. The clerk laughed as her face grew hot, and they bid their goodbyes. She left out the back door, straight to the alley, and transformed. Silly woman. Who forgets their shoes? Women who can transform into superheroes, that's who. Ladybug didn't mean to look, but she saw the window of Adrien's bedroom open when she passed the Agreste Manor. That's strange. Sure, he left it open a lot, but this early in the morning? As a servant of the city, she should check up on citizens potentially in distress. Right? It was a bad idea, but after yesterday, she wanted to see him again. Oh, Tiki was sure to get upset. Ladybug made a mental note to pick something sweet up from her parents, and changed course. To her surprise, however, she made eye contact with Adrien through the window when she landed a roof adjacent to check if he was in. They stared at each other, slack-jawed, before he chuckled and made a come-in gesture, sliding the window a bit more open. Well, this is new. Unexpected. But that didn't mean she wouldn't take him up on the offer. What is the young Agreste doing today? Ladybug asked, landing inside as gracefully as she could. She'd referred to him as that ever since she and Kat put his father away. The young Agreste, Adrien said, walking to his piano, is practicing. Oh, is that why you invited me in? To have an audience? Precisely. He flashed a glance, paired with a smile, over the piano, and Ladybug knew why he was never short of dates. Curse those dimples. Don't you have friends you could call in?
Nobody makes me nervous quite like you do, LB.
He sat down, adjusting the distance between the pedals and his legs.
And you were right there, so yeah.
Oh? I make you nervous? She shot back. It was difficult to not giggle at the thought. Curse this schoolgirl crush. Sure you could get other pretty girls to make your heart flutter? He looked away at the remark.
I'm not so sure about that.
What, have you stopped dating? His eyes locked with hers, but it wasn't a challenge or retaliation. He looked at her like he knew something, or like he knew she knew something. A beat or two passed before he looked away and answered.
Something like that, unless it's the right person.
So Adrien Agreste is still the hottest young bachelor? Adrien blinked his clouded eyes into a look that sparkled with a smirk.
Please, you've mistaken me for Cat Noir.
She rolled her eyes, not letting herself get caught up in the moment. Please yourself. There's no way I'd mistake you for my partner. He laughed, and she knew that was the right answer. If only she could let herself speak freely like she did with Kat, instead of calculating every line, then she could leave the past of their relationship behind them. Then again, when had she ever been able to speak freely to this young man?
I'm regretting telling someone that I've stopped dating recently.
Oh? She leaned onto the piano, her heart missing a beat. He didn't know she was the one he told that to. Unless, of course, he told other people. Yeah, he probably did that. Why would he tell just Marinette, who he rarely saw? Why is that?
Because I was devastated when I heard you got a boyfriend.
She laughed. How flattering.
I mean, unless...
He pushed his lips into a duck pout, looking up at her and batting his eyes. They both laughed, but it was a good moment. Adrien flirting with her, even in jest, made her feel good. Chosen. But it wasn't real. Unless what? You want to make the press go wild?
If you're offering...
He pulled his shoulders to his ears like a turtle, the duck lips back on his face as he grinned. You're silly. She pushed herself off the piano. I don't think I've seen this side from you before. Adrien straightened his posture, clearing his throat.
You don't like it?
He asked, looking at his hands as he placed them on the ebony-colored keys. What? No! She shook her head. Clown goofs are my favorite.
Your favorite?
He spared her a glance.
Like that partner of yours?
Oh, not you too.
What?
He stiffened, and she heard his breath catch. My roommate said the same thing this morning.
Alya, he cleared his throat. You got a roommate? You're just like the rest of us 20-somethings.
Ladybug held his gaze for a beat, lips pursed. You live in a mansion, Agreste. He laughed.
Yeah, sometimes I sleep here. It's a good place to keep a piano.
Notes echoed out as his shoulders shifted, but she couldn't see his hands. Right. That's why you live here. To have a piano.
I'd be a fool to sell, with real estate prices rising the way they are.
She rolled her eyes and shook her head, not restraining her smile. But yes, I like goofs, like my partner. Adrien raised an eyebrow.
But do you like your partner?
She scoffed at his fishing. I just got out of a relationship.
Oh, did you now?
He played a chord for dramatic effect.
So, you're looking for a boyfriend?
What's it to you?
I'm pretty sure I confessed to liking you like 2 minutes ago.
No, you said you were devastated I got a boyfriend. There's a difference. She wiggled a finger at him.
So, if I asked you out, would you say yes?
He tilted his chin as he locked eyes with her, the question lingering between them as she withdrew her hand to her chest, her heartbeat suddenly on her tongue and tickling the underside of her jaw in a way that made her head spin. You tease. She turned herself away a few degrees, resting her elbows on the piano as she leaned on it. Didn't you just say you stopped dating?
Worth a shot.
He looked away, rubbing his tricep with his thumb as he looked down.
What about Cat Noir?
What about Cat Noir?
Never mind.
She narrowed her eyes. It's like you two are tag teaming me.
Huh?
He looked up, jaw slacked with raised eyebrows. Oh, nothing. Ladybug reached for her yo-yo, her heart sinking. Him asking her out just now, so casually, stung, regardless of if it was in jest or in earnest. He wouldn't ask Marinette that. Besides, he was single yesterday too, so he could have asked her then. It was clear now more than ever. Adrien wasn't going to date Marinette. And if Adrien wasn't going to date Marinette, then he couldn't date Ladybug either. Him choosing one over the other would break her, especially when he knew the baker's daughter better than Paris's superheroine.
Hey,
he said, catching her out of thoughts as he closed the key cover.
I'm all for meeting up for drinks sometime, if you ever want to blow out steam.
Drinks?
Yeah, a hot chocolate or bubble tea or something. We could even, go to the bookstore and read picture books together.
She spared him a glance as she pushed herself off the wood. His smile wasn't a smirk or laced with any kind of flirtation. It was soft, like they were friends. So he wore this expression for girls other than Marinette, huh? That'd be nice, she replied, stepping back. It came out softer than she meant it to.
Leaving already? I haven't even serenaded you yet.
I have no time for love songs. Ladybug waved a hand, chest tight. I should go. His face hardened, his eyes narrowing slightly.
Because of your now ex-boyfriend?
She swallowed. The irony. Something like that.
It'll get better with time.
The words came out sincere, his eyes as soft as his tone. Thanks, Agrest.
Anytime.
He stood to walk her to the window.
And while I'm not making a point to date anyone, I'm more than happy to be your rebound, Albie.
He took her hand in his and raised her knuckles to his lips. This charmer. Her golden sunshine boy had grown into quite the heartthrob, hadn't he? With all the best energy in the world, Ladybug said, taking her hand back. If I were to fall into anyone's arms for comfort, Cat Noir would be the best pair. Adrien's expression broke for a moment, stunned, before he smiled like they were discussing business.
As if he had that kind of luck.
He fares better than you imagine. A shadow rolled across the window as he looked out, the clouds rolling in for a storm.
With his luck, he'd date the love of his life without recognizing her.
She laughed at the poke. As if. Cat's the guy who would show up at a girl's doorstep years after if he thought she was the one who got away. She thought about it for a moment, then corrected herself. If she was single. He's pretty good at respecting boundaries for those in a relationship. Come to think of it, Cat was over her. Right? Like, sure, perhaps a bit of longing lingered, but it had been years. And he dated, like, a lot of men and women. Adrien straightened his posture.
It was lovely of you to spend time with a citizen. Thank you.
Goodbye, young Agrest.
Goodbye, Ladybug.
She didn't look back as she zipped away, her heart settling into something warm. The way Adrien treated her as Ladybug was different, but nice. It hurt a bit that he couldn't relax and joke like that with her, but now that she knew a mask was all it took, well, then maybe on days he was worse for the wear, she could come dressed in red and black to make him feel better. It was clear, from their last 2 meetings, Adrien would never date Marinette. But at least now, after years, she had a way to satisfy her treacherous heart. Oh, even now, her heart betrayed her. Thank you so much for listening. Part 7 is on the way. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for more fanfiction. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you don't know what to comment. Ladrien. And check me out on Patreon. Patreon.com/MiraRights. I will catch you in the next one. Bye!